Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the general meeting of the Toyota Land Cruiser Club. I am Bob Fife, TLCC President. On my left is Alan Kidd, the Club Secretary, and to my right is Mark Willett, Club Treasurer. Are there any visitors here tonight other than one that I'll mention anyhow? Any visitors or new members? Yeah. Well, welcome to the club. And if you need to find out anything about the club, you can speak to somebody with a shirt, something like this, or anybody who looks to be over the age of 40, because they will know lots. We do have a slightly more special visitor here as well, who will be introduced later to be doing the a speech to the club. But we have Heather here, who is the president of the Toyota Land Cruiser Club of America. And welcome very much, Heather. Other than that, we'll get going. Thank you. Has everybody seen the minutes at the front of the building? And that being the case, do we have somebody who would like to move carrying of the minutes? And Norma, did your hand go up, Norma? John Green. Now, apologies for tonight, and if there are anybody that I miss, it's only because I've not been told about them. Chris and Mari Taylor, John Kenny, Elkie and Gary Cooper, Sandra and Peter Kearns, John Fermano, Katie Regent and Colin Richards. Are there any others that people would like? Rob and Carol Alexander. Now, of those, Chris and Mari are travelling in Western Australia. Sandra and Peter Kearns are travelling in Western Australia. But John Kenny is ill, Gary Cooper is ill, Katie Regent is ill, and Colin Richards is ill. So we hope they all get better quickly. Present, as per the attendance book, our announcements from the President. Congratulations to Gary and Elkie Cooper for the sensational feedback resulting from the auto electrical course run a couple of weeks ago at Willowglen. Apparently it was, as usual, sensation, so congratulations to them both. I have been asked by Chris Taylor to thank all members who have contributed material to the September-October edition of the Club magazine. Of course, many thanks go to Chris himself for managing to put together the magazine while he is travelling around in Western Australia. That's quite an effort, so good on you, Chris. Many of you may not know that the first aid course to have been run at Willowglen on Saturday, last Saturday, the 3rd, just gone had to be cancelled as the provider of the course had broken his leg down in the snow. So we could have done the first aid for him. But all would-be participants were advised and have all been refunded their payments. So we've got anybody's knocking on the door saying, where's our money? Debbie and Mark Oliver, both who are on Ken Ryan's Burke and Wools trip, are asking for members to volunteer to assist them at the Christmas at Coolandilly event, which is on the 26th of November. So if anybody would be wanting to put their hand up for this, they could either give me a call on my number, which is in the magazine, or send me an email and I'll get the names of those people to Debbie. And as some of you would know, Katie Regent is in hospital after having surgery, major surgery. Despite all that, she was given a gate pass from the hospital to help Max with purchasing for tonight's supper. Max will do the preparation. but Katie was required back at the hospital by 3 p.m. I'm told she wagged it until 4, so she's a character, our Katie. And yes, she is quite a trooper. So. Additionally, Sally and Noel are not all that well, and everybody has known or is on Facebook, has seen a photographic history of Sally's trials over the last few weeks. So Sally and Noel, we hope you get better very soon. But Katie said that she probably shouldn't be here tonight, but that her voice and brain will allow her to perform most of her duties. So good on you, Katie. Thank you. However, Norma Ferguson is here and has performed the registration and raffle ticket duties. Thank you very much, Norma. And Noel is okay to drive, I'm told. And Norma is a person for these sorts of times. She steps up as secretary, she steps up as raffle ticket person, anything and everything. Good on you, Norma. You're a wonderful person. So we would normally have the Vice President's report, but he's not here. But he did send me an email this afternoon saying that he wishes to advise that he's heard back from the Army brand manager and that they have given their permission to utilise the Rising Sun badge on the proposed memorial. That means the Army, Navy and Air Force have given permission to use their crests, so we'll now go ahead with organising the quotes to have the plaques struck. At the next general meeting, he will present to the members some ideas for feedback and comment. I've also, was given to me by Phil. This is something, you can make your minds up which Phil, but it's Phil over here, which is a poem about Lest We Forget Lone Pine, and it's sensational. So I'll pass it on to Colin. Anybody who'd like to have a look at it is welcome, but I'd just like to get it back so we can save it for Colin for next week. Okay, without further ado, we'll go on to the Treasurer's report. Mark.
Thank you, Bob, and good evening, everybody. August is sort of the middle month, or getting towards the end of the financial year for the club, so it's all pretty quiet. We only had receipts in August of $4,072, and $2,800 of that was the refund of our first aid course. So not many memberships, not much else happening there. We did manage to spend nearly $18,000 though, so we bought a log splitter, I think it's an electric log splitter for Willowglen. So that's been purchased, and I'm not sure if it's been assembled yet, but it's down there. We spent about $2,000-3,000 at Willowglen doing some track work and other work a couple of weeks ago with Gordon and his excavator. We repaired some work the shed at Coolandilly that was finished off, the hut. We paid out the council rates for both properties. That was just over $5,000 worth of council rates. We hired the hall, we paid for the video online, we did a few other bits and bobs. And so as at the end of August, we have $348,673 left in the bank. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Education report. Well, John Kenny's not here, but I can say that there was no basic driver training in August, but we did run a very successful advanced driving and recovery course led by Barry Lanigan. It came with great feedback, and the people that participated in that course, due to the state that Willowglen is in, got some real live recoveries that they weren't expecting. So that was really good for them. Andrew, promotions.
Thank you, Bob. I guess one of our bigger events the club has this year or attends is the Eastern Creek 4-wheel drive show out at the Dragway. From what I understand, talking to the promoter, they've done or spent both a huge amount of money there in both in the facilities and also the car parking. There no longer is a 4-wheel drive test track at the show, but there is now a 3,000 spot car park. There's permanent toilet facilities in a couple of locations, and we have, I guess, a good amount of volunteers who have put up their hand to assist on the membership stand, and David Mikov is at the front here. He usually does our shows for us, but we're probably looking for maybe 1 or 2 people to help David on Thursday in setting up the marquee, because it is quite heavy, the new one that the club has. So if you can help, come and see me or David, if you can give an hour or 2 to help Rob and David on Thursday, that'd be great. As part of the stand there, we have the loan of a Land Cruiser 300 series, which is fitted with Toyota General accessories, so that will be on display. And I'll just echo what Bob said before. I got an email yesterday from Heather. Obviously privileged, I guess, to have someone from the Toyota Land Cruiser Association from America. They're probably a little bit bigger than us, probably some in their order of talking to Heather in the car. I picked her up in the city on the way here, over 5,000 people, but I won't spoil her little talk. But yeah, I think we all, even though our club not only takes Land Cruisers but all makes some models of 4-wheel drive vehicles, but we wish you a warm welcome, not only to be in Australia, but being part of our meeting here in Sydney. And just a reminder, and this come of Bob sent an email to members after chatting to me, just a lot of our advertisers basically, I guess, have been supporting the club for a long time. So we just asked a couple of things that your little membership card that with the Toyota logo on the back, with the little sticker that you get that Robin sends out every year after you've paid your membership fees, like, if an advertiser says, are you a financial member of the club, then all you have to do is basically show that you've got that card, and also just politely say, look, thank you for your support of the club, and most of our advertisers will give you somewhere a 5 or a 10% discount. But yeah, I just don't go and demand something, because sometimes, especially in the current environment, it's probably quite hard to retain some of the advertisers that we're actually managing to maintain. TLCC news, I have quite a few boxes of these. I bought 3 tonight. We'll be distributing these quite heavily at the show, but if you would like some tonight, a handful or a box, I've got 3 boxes up the back. You're more than welcome to come and grab some. And another reminder just regarding, obviously, the club prints this magazine. I know myself, I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I actually don't have the time to actually pick it up and read it end to end, but we get it via eMag. If you're one of those people that probably doesn't, I guess, read the hard copy, and you're happy to log on to the website, download 20 copies onto your iPad and read it on a trip or at work or on the lounge of an evening, just think about whether you actually should be on the print list. Yeah, because you can just drop off it. If you see me tonight, or drop me an email or speak to one of the committee, it's easy to do. And I guess the advertisers and guest speakers, we're always looking for more. So if anyone has any ideas of any guest speakers that they think would be of benefit to members, please let me know and we'll try to get them come to the meeting. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Andrew. Social Director's report. There is, we do not have a social director. Anybody wanting to volunteer? We're always on the lookout for talent, and there's a lot of talent here tonight, so If you change your mind, just give me a call. And remember that if you'd like to volunteer for Christmas at Coolandilly, just give me a yell. Okay, Land Manager's Report. Brian.
Evening, everyone. Just in general, the working bees at both properties are going well. We get good attendance at both of those, which is very nice. We can keep on top of things. Our main focus at the moment at both properties seems to be a continual response to the weather events, which keeps us occupied at the detriment of sometimes of other activities. But we need to keep things operational on both properties. We have a working bee at Coolandilly this weekend, so anyone that can make it down to that are most welcome. Next Willowglen working bees, 24th, 25th of September. We've got a lot happening down there that weekend, so as many people as we can get down there, the better. We're replacing the fascia on the front of the shed, which is all sort of cracked and broken. We're going to do some painting and varnishing of all the handrails around the amenities block, and plus general items. So anyone that can come down and help for that particular weekend, we'd most appreciate it. Thank you, and that's about it for land at the moment.
Thank you, Brian. Membership report. Robin.
Good evening, everybody. So since our last meeting, we've had 9 new memberships join the club. We stand at 869 members at the moment. Okay, so we are still climbing and we're continuing to get new members. Thanks.
Thank you, Robin. Probably just worth pointing out for anybody who hasn't been in the club for a while or our visitors that when Robin says 869 members, that is 869 family memberships. So there's a lot more people in the club than 869. Four-wheel drive activities. Ian.
Yeah, g'day everyone. We've had 2 recent trips that have gone out and came back safely. We had an Abercrombie River National Park, which I haven't had time to find out how it went. Couldn't get there, weather? Okay, we've had one that went. Willowglen, a return to Willowglen weekend. Not going to tell you anything about it because there's a trip report that they're going to play for us soonish after we've run the last of the reports, and we'll find out then. We've got 2 trips going in October. I don't know if there's any spaces in them, but I don't think so because they've been on the list for a while. And then coming up on the October long weekend is the not so challenging weekend. Now basically it's a Funcana style weekend, fun activities that might just give you a bit of a challenge, you know. I can't think what we've got exactly, but things like reverse parking into a tight garage, get as close to the post as possible without touching. There was one that's, I don't know what we call it, but a rope from the post to the car bonnet or to the bull bar or whatever, and a post with a ball sitting on it, and you've just got to go around the circle without dropping the ball. There may even be, and you can't do this one on your own, the blindfold driving through the cones. So just a few fun things like that. We do need some more people to volunteer to help as marshals for that. Just send me an email. That'll do me.
Thank you, Ian. Just before the trip report, the Burke and Wills trip's going on.
Yes, there's a trip. Yes, there's a trip going at the moment, or I don't know when they get back. The Burke and Wills one, they're out in the middle of nowhere having fun.
Well, anybody who follows Facebook, our closed Facebook, Ken Ryan is putting up photos and details of that every virtually every day. And they were just up at the Burrsville races in terrible conditions. So no, follow it on there and you'll get some good stuff, really good stuff.
See, that's for the people who've got time to do Facebook.
It's my duty to look at it. Richard, are you going to do your report?
Greetings, everyone. I had to hand over the camera duties to my trusted colleague there. A couple of weekends ago, we put on the Return to Willowglen. 2 years ago, this idea this trip was done where we invited people to come back to Willowglen, come back and do what will be something similar to the driver trainers drive, and then give everyone the chance to play with their own recovery equipment. So snatch straps, winches, shackles. It's not a training per se, but it's a good opportunity for people to come back and in a safe environment with people who know what they're doing, or some people who don't, give them the opportunity to have a practice. So we did the first one last year, I believe it was, very successful, and I did another one not last weekend, but the weekend before. So we had 10 vehicles, and it was a fantastic weekend. I highly recommend that if you do want to come and have a play, maybe brush up some skills on how your winch works, or even just get your winch to work. Most people don't know. For example, one of the members who came along didn't have rated recovery points and didn't know, wasn't aware of that. So now he knows, and for the next trip he'll be able to have that installed. Fantastic weekend. It was at Willowglen, and it was quite muddy, and there was two recoveries. Both recoveries were me. But that was okay. Everybody had a bit of a laugh. We put together a little 4-minute montage of some photos that were sent through. Would you like to watch it now, or would you like to watch it now? Okay, so if we can play the video. I might provide some commentary here. This is my vehicle, stuck in the mud quite badly. But it gave a reality check for people who had never seen a winch recovery, and they saw that it was fairly easy. We tackled most of the tracks, and we did some scenarios where I put some vehicles in certain positions, and it was up to the members to then try and get them out. Here we're showing how to move a log with a chain, and of course the evenings at the shed were fantastic. And I think you'll be surprised how many people did not remember how to do a snatch recovery or how to set up a snatch strap, because they just simply haven't done it that often. Most of the recoveries that we did and the exercises were very simple on flat ground, so it meant that everybody was able to do it at their own pace without the stress of having to actually recover a vehicle. So this is what we called maybe a slingshot with the winch. And of course, convoy procedures were reiterated and practiced, which is great when you put on a trip and you take people out. They'll be more apt with their convoy procedures. This you might remember as the road building. So here I am giving everybody a demonstration of good hand signals. We were joined by William Young, also known as Bill Young, also our English resident gentleman. Ian and Robin joined us for one day because they happened to be around, which was fantastic. And Stephen and Lizanne also joined to help with all the recovery instruction. And again, it's not a training course. It is purely there for everybody to use their own gear, have a go, check what's missing, test things out, find out if their winch is working or not. And everybody loved going around the merry-go-round 2, 3, or 4 times, trying the different lines and figuring out what did and didn't work. When we pulled my vehicle out, it was great. They saw that a single line pull didn't work, so we had to put a snatch block in and do a double line pull, which then got the vehicle out. So everybody was quite happy that they'd seen really just how simple it was and how quick we were able to get my vehicle out of what some thought was a fairly difficult situation. So I think people came out of this weekend realizing that four-wheel driving is lovely, but when you get stuck, it's not a big problem. You just need to put your heads together, have a good think, take it easy, and you can get out of most situations without even really that much effort. Here's the wonderful merry-go-round. Why have they put so many photos of my car? And again, some questions came around, you know, a bridle or an equalizer strap. What is it? Can we use a tree trunk protector as a equalizer strap, and what kind of shackles? And also mainly discovering the property, which is a beautiful property. And we did a lot of driving, many hours of driving. I think everybody really appreciated seeing parts of the property that they didn't even know existed. And it's beautiful. So if you see Return to Willowglen coming up, I recommend join it. Come for a bit of a fun and safe weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Richard seemed to have achieved something quite, unbelievable down there. I saw Bill Young actually out on the tracks and not in the shed. So, very, very, very well done. For those who don't know, Bill is referred to at driver training as our resident English gentleman, and most people would probably know why. Okay, general business from members. Elke's not here, so maybe there's not any. Oh, Vonnie, did you want to... no.
Evening, everybody. Anybody who needs a set of roof racks, there is a set here that are going to the first hand up. So they're just free tonight. I believe they're fuel, but I believe they're for a troopy or that sort of ilk. So over to you.
Thank you very much. Vonnie. Vonnie, could you... No. It's better for the camera. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. We've got 2 bravest young girls, all-time members of the club, who are absolutely unbelievable despite the really horrible times they're having. They still function and do their duties that they've always done. So I decided that the least we can do for them to give flowers. And that's for Sally, of course, and Max. Can you come and get it for Katie, please? Where's Max? Oh. Here you are. Thank you very much. Okay. Max, let's get Max in the middle. Max? Can you come up here? Yeah, okay, I'll try.
Which way do you want me to go?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Can I just thank Bonnie very much for her kindness? Bonnie is our welfare officer. Don't you love that word young? I'm 80, Katie's 74, and Queen Bonnie is 86, is that right? And we love being young. Appreciate the flowers. Thank you so much.
I hate to be morbid on an occasion like this, but for those older members who knew him, Bob Austin passed away back in August, and his funeral was on the 30th of August. There were a few club members there. Unfortunately, I couldn't get there. We found out about a week before it, but I had a doctor's appointment I couldn't make, or couldn't lose. So yeah, it's a bit sad. He was 80. So a little bit young as far as some of us are concerned, but yeah, Bob Austin, rest in peace.
Thank you, John. Do we have any business from committee? Alan, Mark, Brian, Andrew, Ian, Robin. Okay, then it is time to welcome our Heather, our guest from Texas in the United States of America and the president of the Toyota Land Cruiser Association.
Yeah, I'm tall. Thank you. Can I take this off so I can, oh, good. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. My name is Heather Royston, and I am the president of the Toyota Land Cruiser Association. We're based in the United States, but we are a global group. A little different from what you have here, and I guess I'll talk a little bit about our group and what we do, and then I'll be happy to take questions. So I do live in Houston, Texas. I managed to wear a Texas Land Cruiser shirt tonight that I happen to have with me in my rather oversized and very heavy luggage, which I think will be heavier going back because everyone wants me to bring them parts, and it's not happening. So we have a more limited selection of the Land Cruiser in the US, and I think as some folks know, it has been discontinued. So we do not get the 300 series except for in the Lexus model. So the 600 will be there eventually, and it will cost an arm and a leg, probably 2 arms and 2 legs. We never got the 70 series. So our selection, very few 25s around, the FJ40, 60 series, and then the 80, 100, and 200. So those are the ones that we have, and they're all petrol, or gas as we call it. So I'm adjusting my language for being in Australia. We never got diesels. The club is about 5,000. Those are memberships. Some of those are individuals, some of those are business, and some of those are family. So we're probably at closer to, if we look at individuals, around 6,500, something like that. We have a board of directors. We meet every month. And we have chapters. So the way that we work things, we have chapter representatives that call into a Zoom meeting. Now we've stepped up to Zoom since COVID, as we all have to make adjustments. But they call in, and we have a very similar kind of, new old business, new business, officer reports, things like that. And then we have an annual meeting, which we've just started, which will be in September, the 27th, where all members are invited to join to find out what's going on. So our chapters are actually the action arm, if you will, of our club. They're all over the place, and they all have events similar to what you have, except for we don't own any property. So they have, in the U.S., on the western half of the U.S., there's lots of public land owned by the Bureau of Land Management or the U.S. Forest Service. The eastern part of the United States, there isn't a whole lot of that. And in fact, in Texas, where I live, there's only one piece of federal land, and that's Big Bend. And you were in Big Bend. We talked about that. Otherwise, it's all private. So we have private off-road parks where people can come, and that's where we hold our events. We do welcome any members that are. We actually only invite Toyotas, though. We're not any four-wheel drive. We're Toyotas with a transfer case. So Tacomas, kind of our version of the Hilux, if you will. Land Cruisers, Forerunners, whatever, Tundras, Sequoias. So we have Sequoias. And actually Toyota is about ready to unveil the new Sequoia in the US here probably this month. Well, they've showed it to us. They haven't actually let us buy it yet. So I'm on the list. Because that kind of replaces the Land Cruiser since they're not going to distribute it in the US anymore. I think we have about 40 chapters. Each chapter can have their own meetings, similar to this, and then they'll hold their events. The next one is in October at a place called the Hot Springs, Arkansas Off-Road Vehicle Park. The Cotton Land Cruisers, which is our Mississippi chapter, will be hosting about 300 of our closest friends, and actually anybody can come to that. And they'll show up on a Wednesday, and we'll go off-roading. We call it four-wheeling or wheeling. For those 4 days, we'll have a band one night. We'll have dinner 2 nights. We have a big raffle, probably upwards of $25,000 to $30,000 worth of donated stuff, from roof racks to tires to wheels to everything. And then we all go home. So I think we have 12 sanctioned events throughout the year, different chapters that do it. Let's see what else. We do quite a bit of tech help. So we can modify our vehicles more than you can here, and they're still legal. So we have lots of different vendors and companies that will help us do that, both in parts and then also in labor. So I actually brought, if anybody's interested, and I don't know how stickers are here. Lots of people in the US love stickers. I don't know, some people probably, but I brought some with me from different vendors and some of our chapters and some of our events, and also some TLCA stickers for folks if they're interested. I currently own, between me and my partner Kit, he has a 1987 FJ60 that he put a Cummins diesel 12 valve in. And then he has a 1962 Scout, so that's our one non-Toyota vehicle. And I have a 1974 FJ40 and 1976 FJ40 that we turned into a rock crawler. It's on 40-inch tires. I have a 1985 FJ60, a 1991 HZJ73, which is right-hand drive imported from Japan. And then I daily drive a 2013 200 series, and then I have a 2013 Tundra. And I live in downtown Houston. My neighbors think I'm crazy, which is fine with me, because they have Land Cruisers as well. So let's see, what else can I tell you about the club? We do a publication, much like you do. It's called Toyota Trails. It goes to our members every other month, so it's bi-monthly. I write a column in there every time, and then we have an editor who puts it together, very similar to what you do. I have committed to Andrew that I'll send over a box or 2 of those, so you can take a look at what we do. What else can I tell you? I don't know, what else do you want to know about maybe you can ask me questions and I can tell you a little bit more instead of me up here kind of rattling on. Do we do Christmas, Halloween stuff? We don't. So we're very, because we're all over the place in the US, we have people all over. We don't get together in person a whole lot, not the whole club. So we get together when we have events, right? So those are kind of our times where people can come. I just got back from the Rubicon Trail. Has anybody heard of the Rubicon Trail? So that is our only TLCA, actual TLCA big club event. We do it once a year, and that's where I was last week. So we were out on the trail for 7 days. It's pack it in, pack it out. And so we camped in a different place every night along the trail. It's gorgeous. I have pictures on my phone. I'm sorry I didn't put together like a slideshow or something. If I had more time, I would have, because I have a bunch of them on my phone, but I didn't really have the chance. I am here on business. I'm an environmental consultant by training, so I'm here with work. But no, we don't do holiday kind of stuff. We just get together when we have events. No, it is a twin turbo. It's a 6-cylinder. So it's interesting. I don't know a whole lot about it yet, but it's really good looking. Much better than the old trees. So we call them trees. The sequoias, they're the trees. So it's much better looking than the old one. And the TRD package is fantastic. And it's got a fantastic towing capacity too. So I use the Tundra to tow. Oh, the one thing I left out is that I have a race car too. So I have a race buggy, and we tow the race buggy with the Tundra. Oh, we keep them in the, I know, we kind of stuff them everywhere. So we have a camper as well. So we keep the 40 when it's here. It's almost done. It's undergoing restoration. It stays in the garage. And then the race buggy is outside with the camper. And then we line it down the driveway and park it on the street. So they're all over the place. We've converted my neighbor, thank goodness. So they have a GX, Lexus GX, similar to the Prado. And then 100 series, so they're more tolerant now that they're part of the family. No, so the camper is actually a tow vehicle, is actually a trailer. So we use that for my daughter when she plays softball, so we go to tournaments and take the camper with us and go camping. Yes, sir. Do they sell FJ Cruisers? They used to. They don't anymore. So, funny story, I actually got involved with Toyota Land Cruisers because my brother found a 60 series at a do you have buy here, pay here lots, like where you resell them, but they're always expensive because somebody couldn't pay their bill, so they repossessed them or whatever. He saw a 60 series there. He said, I've always wanted one of those Land Cruiser things. So he went and he bought it, and he got involved with one of the local chapters. And I had no mechanical knowledge at all at the time, and so I didn't want to get an old one because I didn't know how to work on it, and it felt expensive to do. So when the Toyota FJ Cruiser came out, I bought one. It was actually my second Toyota. I had a 4Runner before that, and that kind of took me down the path of Land Cruisers. So they discontinued the FJ Cruiser in the American market 5 years ago, something like that. So they don't have them anymore, but they're still very popular. What's interesting is that I think that if you found an FJ Cruiser in the United States right now that had under 50,000 miles, you'd probably pay more for it than I did new. The prices are really going up. So. Yeah, so apart from the Rubicon. So there's actually, out west, there's quite a bit. So the Bureau of Land Management and the Forest Service, it's all public. So you can drive those public lands and get lost for long time. Utah is beautiful. Fantastic spots in Arizona, New Mexico, Wyoming, all over the west. On the east, it's a little bit more difficult because there's so much population. We're kind of packed in a little bit. But in the Appalachian Mountains, the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is in Kentucky, and kind of that idea, it's gorgeous. You can actually. There's actually quite a few opportunities to four-wheel drive. Not like here. Remember, my perspective is different because I haven't been four-wheeling here. So I don't know exactly what it's like, but there's still quite a bit of opportunity. You'll see people most places, so you're not completely like out in the wild, but you could very easily, take a tour of the United States only on back roads and stay on back roads the entire time. Beach driving, some. One of the things that we fight in the U.S. is land use issues. So we actually so the money that we raise as TLCA, quite a bit of it goes to land use issues, and beaches are a problem because people bury their vehicles, and so we have kind of a very few places where you can drive on the beach. You can in Texas, you can on the Outer Banks in North Carolina, you can in parts of California, but they're getting ready to close that. So that's called the Oceano Dunes. It's kind of near San Luis Obispo, which is in the middle part of California on the coast, but they're probably going to close that. So we fight quite a bit for keeping public land open for driving. It takes a lot. So it depends. Yes, you need to have permits for some locations if they're designated off-highway vehicle OHV areas that are run by the government. For the private parks, you need to pay. So it's usually a pay-by-day kind of thing. A lot of our members, some are very overland oriented, right? Drive around for a month and stay in your truck and do your thing. But there's also a segment that are very much hardcore rock crawling. So we like to call it stupid buggy tricks, right? So let's drive up this mountain and see if we can roll over. We have lots of people who do that. I am one of those. My buggy is a race buggy, and I do that a little bit. And if I had pictures, I could show you of me putting it on end upside down. But it's fun. So it just kind of depends on where you are for what you need. So some permits, some not, some pay to play. It depends on where you're going. Tread Lightly, yes. It is in America. I am actually a master tread trainer. And Toyota Land Cruiser Association is a partner with Tread Lightly. So Tread Lightly, it's kind of like, do you have Leave No Trace here? It's that kind of, so when you go out, you clean up your garbage, make sure that you're crossing water the right way, make sure that you're, it stands for, I don't remember what it is because it's been a long time, but it's TREAD, actually stands for something, yeah. So they are in the US. I would say that they're not, they're pretty well known, but they're not as well known, I think, as they could be. So one of the things that we try to teach our members through that organization are good practices, right? To make sure you're doing things the way that they should be done. We try very hard to have low impact. When we do stupid buggy tricks, it's on private property that's designated for it. It's almost like an amusement park, right? So it's not like we're going out and trashing, the beautiful meadows and things like that. We very much discourage that kind of behavior. We don't have a training program like you do. We don't own property, but we do provide technical assistance for members who don't know how to fix their vehicles. So we have a column where people ask questions. We're very much in support of and supported by a website called I Hate Mud. It's a forum if you don't know it. My friend Brian Swearingen Woody runs that. So they support us and we support them. And then, of course, we have our Facebook groups and whatnot. Yeah. So the question was, do we have, members that get together and do long trips together? Yes, they do. Generally, it's up to the group to get it together themselves. But we have, the last one was, we had a group that went out and toured around New Mexico to Area 51, where all the aliens are supposed to live. And so they did a whole tour around there for about 3 weeks or so. In the US, to be honest, we don't have a lot of people who travel for a very, very long time. That's a more Australian and European thing to do. So the longest folks go are probably 2 to 3 weeks, unless they're on some sort of a sabbatical or something, and then they'll go live in their vehicle. But remember, the other part of that is we don't have, it's a lot easier to do that in a troopy, right? Because you've got room. The biggest Toyota that we have is the 200 series, and it's not nearly as basic, right? And there's not as much room in there. So it's also vehicle dependent a little bit too. What else can I answer, or are you curious about? In Texas, it's super cheap, believe it or not. So I think I pay like $100 a year for each one. That's it. So it's not bad. But if you go to some of the other states, like California's probably 4 times that. And it also depends on the taxes, right? So the taxes in some areas are quite high on that registration. So it's cheap to have them in Texas. I wouldn't want to live in California or New York or something like that, because it'd be really expensive. Really expensive. And prices on vehicles too. I don't know what things cost here, but with the 200 going out right now, and I was saying to somebody earlier, if you find a low mileage, 200 series in the U.S., low meaning under 50,000 miles, you're probably paying 100,000 USD for that right now. We don't have any more. We don't have anything brand new in the showroom anymore. They're gone. The price was probably 80, 75, 80, something like that. Maybe a little bit more depending on the package, right? Because Lexus were always a little bit more expensive. But the Land Cruiser badge actually sold better than the Lexus badge in the US. So it was interesting that they took the Land Cruiser but then kept the Lexus version. I'm not sure why. Land Cruiser in the US is all about comfort. And it's not a utility vehicle. It's very much a luxury vehicle. And unfortunately, for the rest of us who want utilitarian vehicles, that's a really good question. So, where do you see the future going? So, we are going to run out of people who are interested in the Land Cruiser eventually because we don't have them anymore. So one of the things that I'm doing as president is I'm trying to bring in the other Toyota owners. So that includes the whole Lexus line as well. So we're working on the 4Runners, the Tacomas, the Lexus LX 470, 570, 600, and then also the GX, Lexus GX. So that's basically the Prado, I think, small, right? Funny. There's a Facebook group called GXOR, GX Off-Road. If you go on there, there's about 40,000 people that are members of that Facebook group. That Facebook group belongs to my brother. So he is the Lexus guy, and I am the Land Cruiser person. So it's kind of funny, it runs in the family, but so we're trying to bring them in, because we're gonna have to, because eventually, we'll have the old Land Cruisers that are always gonna be there, right? But we're gonna have people that don't know anything about them, and they're going to know more about the later model Toyotas. So that's what we're trying to do. No diesels. No diesels. So the only diesels that are in the U.S. have been imported. So my little 1.8Z that I have in my 73, yeah, it's only imports. And we can only import after 25 years. But you can't modify you can't make it wider, you have to have flaps, and you have so many, you can't lift to and all that stuff, right, to drive on the roads here in Australia. We can do whatever we want to. I had a 1995 FZJ 80, right, and it was on 37-inch tires with a 6-inch lift, and it was absolutely legal. I wheeled the Rubicon in that for 5 years. So it was like a whale. It's huge. What is the four-wheel drive that is replacing the Land Cruiser? Well, they're going to put the Sequoia out, right? So that's going to be the new Land Cruiser. Other popular brands, Jeep, right? So Jeeps are hugely popular. They introduced the Gladiator a couple of years ago, the pickup truck, like I guess Ute kind of looking thing, right? And then SUV-wise, that's about it. There really aren't that many. They have the Chevy Tahoe and Ford Expedition and things like that, but they're not off-road vehicles per se. They're just four-wheel drive. A little bigger. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. But it doesn't have those, with the 200s and the 300s, they're kind of a little curvy looking. It's a little bit more straight line, but it does have that big grill on the front, which I'm not sure I'm real keen on, by the way. We'll see, but I'll just cut it off and put a bumper on it anyway. Good. Well, I'll be around, so I'm happy to talk and whatever. Like I said, there's some stickers up here if you're into stickers. Some people are, some people are not. I really appreciate the opportunity to come up and talk, and I'm happy to answer more questions. I hope I was at least somewhat entertaining, and thank you all so much for having me.
Thank you very much for that, Heather. It was terrific, really good. And the big difference, obviously, between here in Australia, as maybe you know, it's diesel here or it's nothing pretty much. I mean, there's a few petrols getting around, but we laugh at those. Not in America, but we wouldn't do that. We're very nice people here in Australia. Okay, we're going to hand over to our Sergeant at Arms, Sally, and her wonderful assistant, Noel. Oh, Norma, sorry. Noel's not looking all that flash tonight.
I'd Heather to come up again, please. No, she's not, no. Now, my role as Sergeant of Arms here is very interesting because I have full autonomy. They haven't sacked me yet, but I'm full of surprises. So I'd like you to come up here. And I noted when you came in, you said, "Can I have a magazine?" Then I noted on the chair you had 3 magazines.
I grabbed a few.
But I do notice that you haven't got a koala bear. You need a koala bear.
Oh,
All right?
koala bear.
You need a koala bear to put your magazines in.
Well, thank you.
It's a pleasure. And also, you need this unique bag. It's from the city of Sydney. You are in Sydney. And these are made recycled material. You just put it in your little handbag and get some more souvenirs from Australia.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Oh, you can have some more books too, Heather. Okay. I'll trade you for some labels too, by the way. Now, we have our monthly birthday roll call. The amazing sign was made by our wonderful Katie. And so I'm going to read them out. And for the members who I know there's a few here with birthdays in September, if you want to take a selfie after the meeting, go for it. Just let your family and friends know that we do celebrate birthdays, young and old. So September, happy birthday to Katie Regan, Brian Chisholm, Sue Duffy, Robin Moggs, Anne Robertson, Nikki Kirkman, Shirley Trelaw, Cameron Daly, Jake Scott. Let's give them a round of applause for happy birthday. I think it's just lovely that we do this, and thanks to our dynamic duo, Richard and Ricky, who make YouTubes of our meetings, so the members who are not here can tune in and think, we are remembered. I'd now like to ask Max Turner to come up. Come up here, Max Turner. Excuse me. Now, you have heard, sorry? No. You have heard from our President, Bob Five, that Katie is still in hospital, and she's a brave soul, trust me. And she gave me this quote, tough times don't last, tough people do. Now, she had the operation on the 26th of August. She was supposed to be out 3 to 5 days. She is still in there. And I thought, it's absolutely incredible. I know you all think, my God, amazing to think that she would ask for a gate pass, not to go home and have a glass of champagne and relax. She went shopping to do the beautiful supper. And we love her homemade sandwiches. Max help, of course. We thank you, Max. And we have a goodie bag for you to share with Katie when you see her. We know you're going to see her shortly. Now, we're going to ask Max to draw the raffle tickets. Now, the raffle tickets, there's 6, they're $25 gift cards. Now, Chris Taylor likes zany pictures, and we're going to do this for him tonight. And I'll give you an example what zany photos mean. As mentioned, Ken Ryan, amazing person, as we know, Club Man of the Year, everything. He's been a Calendula working bee, went to Tasmania to help a friend, then zipped back to Sydney and did the Burke and Wills tour. And as Bob said, he has daily blogs on the Facebook. He had this most amazing picture. Just picture this. There's a boat that went on this trip with a camper trailer, Pedro, who's famous, the Dobbler, with his long beard, in front of the boat. There's a flag there and a fire, and people holding paddles, and this was a homage to Katie. And the blog says, HMAS TLCC salutes Katie, Regent, from the watery wild west of Queensland. There's a spot reserved for you on the next convoy, so hope your recuperation is going great. Now, isn't that amazing? I thought that was phenomenal. That's one level up in creativity, 2 or 3 levels up. So coming back to my point about Chris Taylor, he likes wonderful photos. So for the members and visitors who bought raffle tickets and win a $25 gift card, and I have bookmarks on the back of it, I'd like you to stand over there, and we're going to get our wonderful candid photographer, Scott Gibbons, to do a zany pose, like think you're going to eat the gift card, something incredible that Chris is going to say, I need this in the TLC news. So it's up to you to create a fantastic picture. He loves people element in the news. So can we have your raffle tickets, please? And we're going to ask Max to draw out the first raffle ticket, which is Orange Star F66. Well, Bob, this is your lucky night. This is your lucky night. The next one is Orange Star F80. We might get a group photo, of the F80. Anyone? Oh, my God. He's in the group, Andrew. '68F Orange Star. Bob? Bob again? 68? Redraw. Thanks, Bob. Another one. 58F. Hooray. 76F. You sure, Lisa? Thank you. 93F. Scotty, great. Okay. We'll get someone else to take a photo. Can someone take a photo? So Scotty, give me the 29D. Yellow. 29D. Brian, could you take a photo, please, of the group? Brian Chisholm, would you mind? Yep. And happy birthday. He's one of the birthday boys, 21 today.
There you go. Yours truly.
You? Great. Wonderful. Katie would be thrilled. Fantastic. Yeah. Good on you, Max. And they're lucky, and there's one more, isn't there? Is there one more? The lucky last is
Orange again.
Orange 59F. Orange 59F. Andrew. Another redraw. Sorry, 91F. 91F. Orange Star. 91F. Oh, Dennis, great. Right. Oh, Fran, fantastic. Lucky last, great. We'll let Brian take the zony photo and back to the, oh, Bob's there, back to Mark. Do you want to close the meeting? Thanks, Sally. Hello. I must say it is amazing and wonderful to see long-standing members we haven't seen for a long, long time. There's too many to recognise, but it's great to see you all. In particular, I want to acknowledge David and Heidi Rowley. They come from the South Coast, so it's lovely seeing you. Jan and Carl Riviere. And John Reynolds. Where's John Reynolds? Yeah, haven't seen you for ages. Yeah, lovely to see you. Anybody else that hasn't been for a long time? I know Helen and Ron, Rita and George, the stalwarts in helping us with events. So lovely to see you all. Thank you. Back to Bob.
Thank you, Sally. Okay, the next general meeting will be held here at the Liberty Hill Church on the 3rd of October, Monday the 3rd of October. We would like to see you. Ah, so it's not then. I don't know where I got that from, just one moment. Oh, it'll be the 10th, Monday the 10th of October. My apologies for that. No, November the 7th. Let's get it correct. I've still got October down here. Yeah, October the 10th, as I said, yes, October the 10th. My apologies. So if there's no further ado, we'll declare the meeting closed. And thank you very much for attending.